real estate market update for the Phoenix metro area as of the end of April 2023. At the end of April, 14 of the 17 top largest cities in the Phoenix metro area have found themselves back in sellers markets. This means that for the sellers shown in green on this chart, those sellers will have more negotiating power than the buyers in their transactions at the moment. There is one single city that has crawled its way out of a buyer's market and back to balance, and it is so close to falling into a seller's market once again. This city is Queen Creek. And the two cities that are still lingering in buyer's markets but are so close to falling into a balanced market again, those are Maricopa and Buckeye. As for active listings in the Phoenix metro area, we're falling into the same pattern we saw in our last normal market in 2019. However, the inventory levels are much lower than we had back then. How much lower, you ask? Well, our current inventory levels are nearly 33% lower than we had in 2019, and still 12% lower than the active listing count we had in 2020. So what does that mean when inventory levels start shrinking? Well, in most cases, when supply falls, prices start to rise. Now let's talk about the days on market, or in other words, how long it's taking for homes to sell in the Phoenix metro area. Now the days on market may appear higher than we have been over the last few years at 72 days in April. But this number's been on the decline for the last few months, and we are now right in line with the average days on market that we saw in 2018 and 2019 during the last normal market during this same time of year. All right, now let's touch on foreclosures. For those of you thinking that the market has crashed or that we will be crashing and there's going to be a flood of foreclosures hitting the market, well, it hasn't happened yet. As of now, we still haven't seen an uptick in foreclosures in the Phoenix metro area, and we are still well below the pre-pandemic levels we had in 2019. Here's a little perspective for you. In March of this year, we had just 33 foreclosures, but in March of 2010, right after the housing bubble burst, we had over 5,300 foreclosures. Now, something to note is something you might be seeing in the headlines is this national debt ceiling crisis. And for the last year, I've been talking over and over again about some black swan event that could just change everything. So is this it? I don't know, but what I am going to do is give you all of the current data and the market trends in the Phoenix metro area, and as of right now, I'm seeing little to no movement as far as foreclosures go. With a market crash, you would expect the prices to continue to fall. However, since the beginning of the year, prices have steadily been rising. In the Phoenix metro area, we started the year around $333 per square foot, and we are now at $370 per square foot. While this is lower than the $395 a square foot we had last year, it is still much higher than the $359 per square foot we had in 2021, and we are projected to continue rising. Now, it really doesn't matter what a home is listed for, right? What matters is what a home sells for. So let's look at the list price versus sales price ratio. Currently, the list price for sales price ratio in the Phoenix metro area is in a very normal territory at 97.6%. This means buyers are paying an average of 97.6% of the list price, or 2.4% below the list price. Over the last 2 years, this number was over 101%, but as you can see, that is abnormal for the market, and we have fallen right back into a normal territory. And another metric that's fallen right back into a normal, healthy territory is the listing success rate. In the middle of 2022, the listing success rate in the Phoenix metro area climbed to 93%, which you can see on this chart going all the way back to 2004 was abnormally high. Something else to note on this chart is going all the way back to 2004, the only time the listing success rate reached 90% was in between 2020 and 2022. Even in the years leading up to the housing market crash in 2008, the listing success rate was never so high. And something else to note is that in 2008, the listing success rate fell to just 21%. And last year, when our market normalized, we fell to 63%, which is just shy of normal. And like all of the other metrics in the Metro Phoenix area that have had a positive turnaround since the beginning of the year, this number has been climbing positively every month since January and is now at 82%, which is above normal. All right, so with most cities in the Phoenix metro area now back in seller's market, this means fewer price reductions are happening. In October of 2022, over 4,400 listings per week were having price reductions. And now that number has decreased to just 1,400 price reductions per week in the Metro Phoenix area. And this is yet another metric that's falling right in line with the market we had in 2019. I do have some good news for buyers though. Right now in the Phoenix metro area, about 45% of the transactions have the seller paying a portion of the buyer's closing costs. And the average amount that sellers are paying towards the buyer's closing costs is around $9,000. This might be good news for buyers right now to cash in on those seller concessions, but take a look at this chart. This chart shows the amount of transactions with seller concessions is decreasing significantly. And as supply decreases and demand increases, seller concessions might be harder and harder to come by as the market changes. All right, here's some anecdotal feedback of the current market we're in based on my experience in the field. The first thing I'm noticing is that there are a lot more multiple offers currently than we've seen in the last 8 to 9 months. I recently had a buyer client who loved a home that had been on the market for 90 something days. They submitted an offer, and by the end of that day, they had 12 different offers. That seller asked the buyer to waive the appraisal and did not want the buyer to ask for anything to be repaired. Typically, as a buyer, you might see a listing that's been on the market for a while and think that you have some time to make your decision on it, or that you have a lot of negotiating power because of how long it's been sitting on the market. Well, in a market like today where we are coming off of a buyer's market and shot straight back into a seller's market, that's not the case. Of course, you're going to treat each home differently, but make sure that you're working with your real estate agent to come up with the best course of action in negotiating or even viewing each home. Because the rules we were playing by just a few months ago are not the rules that are going to win you that house today. I hate to say it, but the market we're in today really feels like the beginning of 2022, the end of 2021, when it was more competitive for buyers. And for those of you who've been waiting for the prices to fall before you make a purchase at the home, I think we've hit the bottom of the market and we are now on the way up. I have heard from 3 different lenders that they expect the interest rates to start falling again soon. And if that happens, I anticipate a massive frenzy in the market. I really think things are going to pick up, being a lot more busy, making it even more competitive for buyers. I know you have to do what's right for you for your specific situation, but if you have been ready to buy a home and you are financially prepared to buy a home, but you've just been waiting for the prices to hit the bottom, it might be the time to get back out there and start looking for a home again. You never know what's going to happen in the real estate market to throw it off, and I don't think a lot of people would have anticipated what happened over the last few years. But prices have already started to rise, and I think they are going to continue rising as soon as those interest rates start falling again. Because the demand never really went away. I think the buyers just took a break, but as soon as those rates go down, it's going to be like opening the floodgates. All right, that's it for our market update for April 2023. If you have any questions about the real estate market in the Phoenix metro area, reach out and I'm happy to help.